So let me tell you something about business. The bank doesn't care how hard you worked. The supplier doesn't care how passionate you are. And the guy sitting across the table from you with a purchase order worth six figures, he doesn't care about your logo. He cares about risk. And that's where I want to take you today, because there's a 9-digit number that a lot of entrepreneurs don't even know exists. And some of them don't find out about it until they're sitting in front of a lender, trying to get business credit, trying to become an approved vendor, trying to expand, trying to land a serious commercial relationship. And somebody asks them, "What's your DUNS number?" And they look at the other guy like he just started speaking Mandarin. Now, here's the part that bothers me. I've watched entrepreneurs spend thousands on websites, on logos, social media, on courses, teaching them how to manifest seven figures, but they don't know how their business is identified in the commercial credit ecosystem. Now, that's backwards. That's like putting chrome rims on a car with no engine. And I'm talking about this today because the environment for small business capital has changed. Cash flow is a major pressure point. Access to credit is shaping business strategy, and financing conditions remain tougher than the Instagram guru wants to admit. Now, currently in 2026, research shows cash flow has emerged as a top concern for small businesses, while access to credit remains one of the biggest factors influencing business decisions. So if you're building a real company, not a side hustle fantasy, not a drop shipping fairy tale, a real enterprise, you need to understand the infrastructure underneath the business. And that's what we're breaking down today. D-U-N-S, DUNS. What it is, why it matters, what it doesn't do, how to get one, the advantages and the disadvantages. And one more major misconception about government contracting that could send you in the wrong direction if you're listening to outdated business advice. So let's get to work. So here's the first lie I want to kill right off the rip. Get a DUNS number and you'll automatically get business credit. No, absolutely not. That's guru nonsense. A DUNS number is a 9-digit identifier associated with a business and its Dun Bradstreet business profile. It can help organizations identify and evaluate a company. It can be useful for commercial credit, supplier relationships, partnerships, and certain contracting opportunities. But the number itself isn't magical. It's an identifier, not a magic wand, not an ATM card, not a loan approval, not a substitute for revenue, not a substitute for cash flow, not a substitute for profitability, and definitely not a substitute for responsible financial management. That's the distinction. But the real game isn't, how do I get a number? The real game is, how do I build a credible financial identity around my company? Now we're talking. So let's start by understanding what the DUNS number actually is. D-U-N-S stands for Data Universal Numbering System. It's a unique 9-digit identifier used by Dun and Bradstreet for businesses. So think of it as part of your company's commercial identity. Your EIN identifies your business for federal tax purposes. Your bank account establishes financial infrastructure. Your accounting records establish financial performance. And your contracts establish commercial activity. Now, the DUNS number can connect your company to a commercial business profile used by organizations evaluating the company. Different tools, different purposes, different pieces of the machine. And here's where entrepreneurs get themselves into trouble. They think business credibility is one number. It isn't. Business credibility is an ecosystem. Legal identity, financial identity, payment history, your revenue, cash flow, time in the business, your industry risk, your management quality, contracts, your banking relationships, your credit relationships, and documentation. The DUNS number is one component of that architecture, not the entire building. So you might be wondering why it can matter. Here's where this gets interesting. Dun Bradstreet says a DUNS number can help businesses establish credibility and give other organizations a way to identify and evaluate the company. Companies may request it during vendor or supplier onboarding, commercial credit applications, partnerships, and other business relationships. Now, think about the psychology for a second. If you're a procurement department and you're considering onboarding a new supplier, you're asking, who are these people? Are they legitimate? Where are they located? How long have they been operating? Can they perform? Are they financially stable? What's my downside if I give them $100,000 purchase order? That's counterparty risk. That's sophisticated business language for, if I do business with you, how badly can this decision hurt me? That's the question. And serious companies build systems to answer it. Now, this is another area where the internet is full of half-truths. Your personal credit profile and your business credit profile are not the same thing. Dun Bradstreet describes the DUNS number as separate from your personal identity and connects it to the company's business credit file. That matters because entrepreneurs eventually want to move from, I personally guarantee everything, to, my company has its own financial track record. Now, don't misunderstand me. That transition doesn't happen because you got a DUNS number. It happens because you build the company properly. You establish the entity. You maintain consistent business information. You operate through appropriate business banking. You pay obligations responsibly. And you cultivate trade relationships. And also, when applicable, you have vendors report legitimate payment experiences to commercial credit bureaus. That's how you build financial credibility. The number is the identifier. The behavior creates the reputation. That's the major difference. Now, let's talk about what every entrepreneur actually wants to know. Can this help me get money? Potentially, but don't let some internet clown tell you, get your DUNS number and you'll get $250,000 in business credit with no personal guarantee. That's not how serious underwriting works. See, lenders can look at multiple variables, beginning with your revenue, cash flow, time in business, debt service capacity, credit history, collateral, your industry, your own banking activities, financial statements, and personal guarantees, and the lender's own underwriting model. See, current 2026 financing research shows access to credit remains a major strategic concern for small businesses, while lenders continue to evaluate risk to increasingly vary financing channels. So the DUNS number belongs in your capital readiness strategy, not your fantasy strategy. There's a difference. So now we're getting into the machinery. Imagine you're operating a construction company. You need materials. You buy from a supplier. The supplier says, hey, we'll give you net terms, maybe 30 days, maybe 60. Now you're not just buying material. You're potentially creating a commercial payment history. That's where trade credit becomes strategically interesting. But I want you to remember, not every vendor reports payment history to every commercial bureau. So don't assume, oh, I paid my invoice, therefore my credit profile automatically improved. You need to understand who reports, what they report, and where it gets reported. That's financial literacy, not TikTok finance. Now, I want you to pay attention because this is where outdated content can severely hurt you. You may hear somebody say you need a DUNS number to get federal government contracts. That was once relevant, but the federal government changed that system. So as of April 4th, 2022, the federal government transitioned away from DUNS as its entity identifier and uses the unique entity identifier UEI through sam.gov. So if you're trying to do business with the federal government today, don't walk in there waving an old DUNS number thinking that's the federal credential. You need to understand the UEI and sam.gov registration process. That's the current architecture. And this is exactly why you have to be careful with business content online. A video from 5 years ago can sound authoritative and still give you 5-year-old information. In business, 5 years is an eternity. So the question right now is, how do you get your DUNS number, right? Here's the practical part. First, check whether your business already has one. Don't assume you need to create a new record. Dun Bradstreet provides a lookup process for businesses to determine whether a DUNS number already exists. Second, if you don't have one, apply through Dun Bradstreet. If you're operating in the U.S., you'll need this information: your legal business name, your business address, telephone number, owner, president, or CEO info, the legal structure of your business, the year you established it, a primary industry, whichever you may be in, and the number of employees in your company. Dun Bradstreet currently states that obtaining the standard DUNS number is free. And here's another thing. Don't pay some random middleman hundreds of dollars because they tell you they can get you a DUNS number. The official process is available directly through Dun Bradstreet. D&B also warns about fraudulent communications that attempt to charge businesses for DUNS number, renewal, or maintenance. The number itself does not expire and does not require renewal. Now, expedited processing can carry a fee, but the basic DUNS number itself does not require you to purchase some recurring subscription just to keep the number alive. Now, this one is boring, and boring things make money. You want your business information to be consistent: your legal business name, address, telephone number, your industry classification, owner information, banking, tax documentation, corporate records, website invoice, vendor applications. You might be asking why. Because inconsistent business information creates friction, and friction creates questions, and questions create underwriting delays, and delays, they will kill your opportunities. See, Dun Bradstreet provides a mechanism for business owners to review and request updates to company information associated with their DUNS profile. So if you move the company, change ownership, open up 10 new branches, or materially change company information, don't let your commercial identity become stale. So I want to start off with the pros of a DUNS number. Let's put this on the table. Pro number one, your business identity. It gives your company a distinct identifier within Dun Bradstreet's ecosystem. That can make your business easier for commercial counterparties to identify. Pro number 2, commercial credibility. It can help organizations evaluate your company and its business profile. That's useful when you're trying to graduate from being perceived as Joe's LLC to Joe's company is an established commercial counterparty. Pro number 3, a vendor relationship. Certain suppliers and corporations may request a DUNS number when onboarding vendors or evaluating commercial credit. Pro number 4, it's a credit building infrastructure. It can be part of establishing a commercial credit file, but remember, the file isn't built by the number alone. Your company's actual financial behavior matters. And finally, pro number 5, opportunity readiness. Maybe you don't need it today, but 6 months from now, a major customer could ask for it. A supplier could ask, a lender, a partnership opportunity could require it. The point is preparedness. Now let's talk about the cons. Now I'm going to get brutally honest. Let's start with con number 1. It's not a guarantee of funding. This is the biggest one. You can have a DUNS number and still have terrible cash flow, no revenue, weak credit, and get rejected by a lender. The number doesn't override underwriting, period. On to con number 2, which is a confusion with other identifiers. Entrepreneurs sometimes confuse EIN, DUNS, UEI, business credit scores, personal credit scores, NAICS codes, state registration numbers. These are not interchangeable. Learn the architecture. On to con number 3. The data accuracy matters. If information connected to your company is incorrect or outdated, that can create problems when somebody evaluates your business. So you got to manage the profile. On to con number 4. Some commercial credit products cost money. Getting the DUNS number itself is free, but commercial credit monitoring, analytics reports, and other services can involve fees. Don't confuse the free identifier with every paid product surrounding it. That's how people get upsold. And finally, con number 5. It can create false confidence. This one is totally psychological. A business owner gets the number and thinks, I'm officially business credit ready. No, you're not. You're identified. Now you have to build. That's like getting a driver's license and thinking you're a Formula One driver. The license proves you can legally drive, but it doesn't prove you can win the race. So I want to share with you the Business Warroom checklist on this episode. Now, if I was sitting across the table from you today, here's what I tell you to do. 1, verify whether your company already has a DUNS number. 2, if you don't have one and it makes strategic sense for your company, obtain it directly through Dun Bradstreet. 3, audit the information associated with your company. Number 4, make your business identity consistent across your legal, financial, and commercial records. Number 5, open and properly operate dedicated business banking. Number 6, understand which vendors report commercial payment experiences. Number 7, pay obligations on time. Number 8, monitor your business credit information. And number 9, build financial statements that actually tell the truth. What are these statements? Your revenue, gross margin, operating expenses, EBITDA where relevant, working capital, accounts receivable, accounts payable, debt service coverage, cash conversion cycle. Don't just know your sales, know your unit economics, know your liquidity position, know your capital structure, know your cost of that capital, because when the money gets serious, the conversation gets serious. So here's the Vinny G test I want you to remember. If somebody offered you $500,000 of growth capital tomorrow, could you prove exactly where the money would go? Could you show them your last 12 months of financial performance? Could you explain your gross margin? Could you defend your customer concentration? Could you explain your accounts receivable aging? Could you demonstrate debt service capacity? Could you explain your acquisition cost? Could you explain your customer lifetime value? Could you explain to them what happens if your revenue drops 20%? Could you show them your contingency plan? That's business maturity, not a Dun's number. The Dun's number is one brick. You're building the building. So here's a principle I learned the hard way. You don't build financial strength when you need money. You build financial strength before you need money because desperation is expensive. See, when you need money desperately, everybody suddenly has leverage over you. The lender has leverage, the supplier, the investor, the buyer, the landlord. But when your company has liquidity, documentation, customers, cash flow, credit, and options, now you negotiate. That's the difference between needing a deal and choosing a deal. And in business, options are power. Now, the current financing environment makes this even more important. The OECD 2026 financing report says SME borrowing costs remain elevated compared with pre-pandemic levels, and notes that banks continue to apply stringent lending conditions while fintech and non-bank finance are playing an increasingly important role. Meanwhile, current small business research shows cash flow remains a major concern, and many businesses are looking beyond traditional banks for that capital. So don't build your company around one source of capital. Build capital optionality. Banks, credit unions, business credit, trade credit, equipment financing, asset-based financing, private capital where appropriate, strategic partners if necessary, and when eligible, government-backed financing. See, you always want multiple doors because you don't know which door is going to be open when you need it. So listen to me. If you're starting a business, I want you to stop obsessing over looking successful. Start obsessing over becoming financially credible. There's a difference. Anybody can rent a Lamborghini. Anybody can put CEO in their Instagram bio. Anybody can make a fake screenshot showing 100K in sales. But can your company survive a bad quarter? Can it finance growth? Can it pay suppliers? Can it service debt? Can it retain current customers? Can it produce clean financials? Can it withstand due diligence? See, that's the game. So if you don't have your DUNS number, investigate it. If you already have one, verify that information ASAP. If you're pursuing federal contracts, understand that the UEI through SAM.gov, not the DUNS number, is currently the federal entity identifier. And if you're chasing funding, don't chase the number. Build a financial profile behind the number. That's where the real leverage lives. No handouts, no shortcuts, no fake guru garbage. Build the machine. Then make that machine produce. And remember this, a business becomes powerful when its paperwork can defend what its ambitions promises. That's your homework. Get your business identity straight. get your financial house straight, know your numbers, know your cost of capital, know your cash conversion cycle, and never walk into negotiating financially naked. This is the Business War Room. I'm Vinny G. And if this episode gave you something you can actually use, I want you to go follow Business War Room podcast across all social platforms. Make sure you subscribe to this podcast, share this episode with another entrepreneur, and send it to the person who's trying to build a real company instead of pretending to own one. Next time, we're going deeper, because once you understand your business credit identity, the next question becomes what? How do you actually turn that financial credibility into access to capital without getting financially strangled by the money you borrow? That's where things get interesting. Until then, keep your boots on the ground, your eyes on your numbers, and your hands on the leverage. This is the Business War Room, and we out. Peace.